If you are a property owner in the City of Milton, you pay taxes that help fund city operations like road work, public safety, and parks and recreation. Budgeting begins in August and wraps up in September. The city's fiscal year begins October 1st, and each year's balanced budget must be passed by September 30th. Milton, by law, does not deficit spend. Milton spends the most money, about $6.5 million, on public safety services, which includes both police and fire. General administration is second with about $1.7 million. It is followed closely by public works at about $1.3 million. Milton's budgeting process begins in mid-July. Each department head works with his or her staff to determine the financial needs and responsibilities of the department over the next fiscal year. During this time, staff determines its maintenance and operating budget, that is, recurring costs needed for day-to-day operations, and its capital improvements budget, large-scale projects with one-time cost. After each department has created its wish list, the department head meets with the finance director and city manager to determine what can be funded. These negotiations continue into early August, when the first draft of the budget is presented to City Council. From there, the document is further refined with input from elected officials and public comment until everyone is satisfied with the final product. You may peruse Milton's yearly budgets by visiting the city's website. While there, you may also look at the comprehensive annual financial reports, which are published in the spring and cover the year previous. These two documents give you a crystal clear view into the city's stellar financial standing, as the budget explains how Milton expects to spend its money over the coming fiscal year, and the financial report is an audit of that budget. If you would like to be involved in Milton's budgeting process, please attend the advertised budget meetings, which will take place during City Council meetings and work sessions in August and September. You will have the opportunity to ask questions, provide input, and more. All that's required is that you attend. Milton's budget includes full reports on the city's revenue sources. There are a number of sources, but the largest portion of Milton's budget comes from ad valorem and sales taxes. Out of a typical $18 million budget, property taxes will account for about $9.5 million, with local option sales taxes coming in a distant second at $3.7 million. As stated earlier, beginning in March, Milton will begin receiving nearly double its local option sales tax revenues. The total is expected to stretch to more than $7 million. Also, despite public perception, the City of Milton does not fund its budget through speed enforcement or other fines and forfeitures. In a typical budget year, Milton will receive about $400,000 total from all fines and forfeitures, of which traffic enforcement is a small part. That accounts for less than 2% of the operating budget in a typical year. Milton's budgets are relatively low because its tax base is heavily weighted towards residential property, about 86% to 13% commercial land. Commercial land generates more tax revenues for government entities and generally require less service. Ad valorem taxes, more commonly known as property taxes, are levied for city operations and maintenance. When you call the police or fire department, play in a park, or eat at an inspected restaurant, you are using services paid by your property taxes. Your taxes also pay for services to oversee development, protect water and air from pollution, repair and build roads, and much more. All real estate and personal property is taxable unless exempted by law. Real property is land and generally anything that is affixed to the land. Personal property is everything not considered real property and usually consists of inventory and fixtures used in conducting business. The basis for ad valorem taxation is the fair market value of the property. The tax is levied on the assessed value of the property, which, by law, is established at 40% of the fair market value. The amount of tax is determined by the tax millage rate. The city's millage rate is 4.731 mils. There is a cap on this rate, meaning it cannot go higher without a vote of the populace. A mill is $1 per $1,000 of assessed property value. However, the city has no role in determining the valuation set on either real or personal property. The Fulton County Board of Assessors is responsible for valuing all real and personal property within the county, including the City of Milton. In Milton, property tax bills are sent out around the 1st of September and are due 60 days later. You may pay online, over the phone, or through the mail. Failure to receive a bill does not relieve you from paying. Property owners in Milton pay taxes to the city, but also receive a bill from Fulton County. The Fulton County bill includes county and school taxes. The money generated through these taxes fund county services like animal control, public libraries, and the school system. Prior to incorporation, property owners in Milton paid taxes only to Fulton County. Those bills dropped by half once Milton incorporated, and the city took up the slack. So while residents receive two tax bills, they pay the same amount as before Milton existed. Only now they receive increased and locally decided services.